here are our panelists. They are Markku Kiviniemi, VTT, Olli Seppänen, Aalto University, Jukka Suomi, Trimble, Ari Viitanen, Carinafour, and also Janne Öfvresten of KONE could join us. So, gentlemen, we are now live. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, so I will be here moderating the discussion, and let's start with an easy question first for everybody. You referred to construction productivity issues in your presentations, and there's an interesting question that I've been wondering recently about how big a percentage of construction productivity challenges is caused by the quality and quantity and timing of design information, and how much by the shortcomings of on-site planning and management. If you can give us a percentage number, that would be great. But and also, please explain why you chose that number. And perhaps maybe Ari can start, because you're on the top left corner on my screen at least.
Yep, thank you very much. So actually, of course, it's depending on the production type or production phase. So it's quite hard to say the one figure. And then we have to remember that actually from the production point of view, so they should be one chain, starting from design, planning, and the management, and how you manage the whole process. So that those has to be seen as one entity. And like we all know that actually good supply chain management, for example, that requires the certain quality of the design process. Otherwise, you are not able to do the proper supply chain management. And then the good planning that is also based on the bill of material or the design information. So I would see that the design that is more enabler for the high quality processes, and also including the management. So when you have the good design, you can have a very good planning, and then when having the very good plans, then against the plans you can control with the management processes that where you are, what you should do. So not sorry to say, but no percentages, but all in all, those three themes, they are core things to develop the production and productivity further.
All right. Well, Jukka.
I would neither tell. This is a difficult question. I can't say a number, honestly, and I would leave that maybe to Olli and the research organization to find out that what is that. So, but I think it's much more complicated than just having the design and the planning, because they're also it's a multidimensional thing. So there's other things also affecting that, like the business models and industry culture and contract structures and that kind of thing. So then, and all those should be solved practically simultaneously to get out of this productivity gap.
All right. Perhaps Markku, as a researcher, can answer. Give us an exact number.
Yes, of course. I will answer with the Finnish slogan, meaning that the chances are 50-60, meaning that some part of the mess at the site is depending on the lack of design and errors in the design. But I'm not able at this point, at least, able to make a detailed answer to this, which one is more crucial.
All right. Well, the other research organization, Aalto University and Olli, what are your thoughts?
We can make some estimates for some trades. So we have done these productivity studies, especially for HVAC, plumbing, and electrical workers. And there we found that design issues were the root cause of 50% of wasted effort. And the wasted effort comes from design is kind of the root cause of everything. As Ari was saying, that we have have to have the full chain. Design is in the beginning of the chain. So when you do not have good design, people spend a lot of time improvising and discussions, having these ad hoc coordination discussions. They cannot organize their materials because it's impossible to know what materials are needed if you have to deviate from the planned design. So I would say design is the single most important thing to get right, and then everything else can follow.
All right. Janne, you joined us, very, very good that you joined us on this panel, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, thank you. I would have to agree with everyone that it's very difficult to say any percentage here. It depends a lot on the project. So maybe in larger projects, the kind of design phase is more emphasized, but overall, these are interconnected so that you cannot separate the design and on-site operations. Like Olli was saying, the better you do the design, the better you do then in the later phases of the projects. So no numbers from me either.
All right. Well, you were referring to situational awareness in your presentations, and that's a fancy term, and I know that not everybody in our audience knows what that means. So perhaps you could enlighten us a little bit, and just maybe Olli, you could start, because I know that you have been promoting this term very recently and for a couple of years, I guess.
Yeah, I think everyone in production context has some idea of what's going on, and they are making all the time decisions based on what they know. So they have their own awareness of the situation. They understand what is the status of previous tasks, what's the status of materials, do they have design. But everyone has a different view based on their own perceptions and discussions they have had with other people and their own observations. And traditionally, the situational awareness is handled through meetings and by actual site visits, moving to other locations. So you can see symptoms of bad situational awareness, for example, by putting cameras in a room. We once put in one hotel room of a hotel renovation project a camera, and saw that 80 people entered that hotel room on one day, and only 2 of them were supposed to work there. So 78 people were kind of looking, is there something for me to do? That's kind of a big problem in terms of productivity when people have to manually collect the situational awareness. So now we are turning to digital systems so that everybody would have the same shared understanding of what's going on and would be able to access this through various devices and platforms. And even more importantly, artificial intelligence can access the system, the situational picture in one data lake, and can make reasonable simulations of what's going to happen if we continue on the same track. So how we use situational awareness in this project is try to collect digitally and as automatically as possible all kinds of status information about materials, about where people are, what's the status of work, combine that with all the process information from various actors, and then use it to optimize the whole site. But the only way to actually achieve that is to have everything in one place and have a shared understanding of the situation rather than as many situational awarenesses as there are people on the job site.
Okay, Jukka.
Yeah, I agree what Olli said. One addition to that situation picture is automation. So I think it's essential this is automatically collected, because then we can avoid the lag. So we have seen in many construction sites that when people are manually recording the status, so the status is old when it's shared. And if especially nowadays when the work is organized with the takt-time planning. It's very intensive, so it's essential to know what has happened so that you can do the next things in the correct way.
Ari?
Yep, actually good comment, colleague. So I'm seeing that the situational awareness, it's when comparing, for example, the orienteering. So when you're running in the forest, the first thing what you should do before to do the decisions, so you need to know where you are. And actually in a construction context, it's about the control. So when we have the schedule and etc., so we have to know that are we going according to plan, are we on the path, and we are able to do the correct reaction in the place when we are actually not following the path called schedule or called plan. And it's about controlling where we are. It's about reacting fast with the corrective actions, but it's also the third angle is that be better tomorrow, because we can collect the data, what happened, why that happened, and then do the, let's say that the development for the production concept itself. So control, react fast, be better tomorrow. That's about the situational awareness, and think about orienteering. So that's the from my point of view, that is good actually example that how to understand the situational awareness, where you are before running.
All right, yes. But I know that other industries have certainly also done this before construction. They have somehow solved the problem. Do you have any knowledge or something that we could actually use in construction to maybe as an example or from other industries? Olli?
Air traffic control comes to mind. The situational awareness and real-timeness of situational awareness based on sensors is critical, because if you make a mistake, then planes are going to crash. And they have quite good systems and control towers, and that kind of control tower idea is now also coming to construction, where you are collecting all the data into one place. And there may be some productivity engineer who is looking at all that data and making decisions. And here we are in Actor, we are maybe going one step further and trying to also automate many functions of that productivity engineer and trying to figure out things automatically, simulate the future and optimize tasks and then deliver them right to the workers. Kind of removing this kind of reactive management and allowing people to focus more on the future than the present, and let the AI focus on the present and let people focus on making sure that the future is better than current status.
Yes, what I find very, very interesting and perhaps unique in Actor is that you're focusing very much on the individual on the construction side, who has so far been pretty much left out of the digitalization. So I think that's a very, very good and interesting approach. Another term that we have heard today is digital twin. And digital twins are, I don't know where on the hype curve they are currently, but everybody has their own idea what a digital twin is. Somebody thinks that a digital twin is basically a 3D model, a BIM model, and the others think that it's something a little bit more tied to the reality of what's happening in buildings and so on. But if we are talking about the digital twin of a construction project or process, what could that be? Olli.
We have investigated these concepts And as you said previously, digital twins were mainly understood as extensions of building information models, that you have building information models and then sensors are maybe sending data and sensing the reality, and then you see, for example, alarms when humidity is too high or temperature is too low. That has kind of been and then of course different devices in maintenance phase, they are alarming if there's some problem. But now when we think about construction process, of course what is there in the BIM model is not ready yet, it's in process. So we are actually building that building, so we need to think about what would be the best digital model where we could combine reality. And we are taking inspiration from the manufacturing world, where there are often these plant simulations where we are investigating whether the process is efficient and how to minimize the steps of actors and organize logistics and so on. And maybe Janne can also elaborate. KONE has done a lot of work on these people flow models. So we are trying to think of digital twins in a slightly different way in this project and consider people and material flows, have it more like a simulation model of the process, which also maybe includes some of the important parts of the building information models. So that's a little bit open how we tie to simulation model, which is behavior of people and behavior, movement of materials, and the digital model, building information model, but we are kind of actively working on the solution and figuring out what's the role of each technology. But I think the key part is that when we model processes, we cannot use a product model. There must be some process model behind it, and we think that the schedules are maybe not accurate enough process models, because we really want to go on the level of steps taken and how material locations impact productivity and so on, so that different interventions can be evaluated by site management.
Well, Janne, perhaps you have something to add.
Yeah, well, I think Olli said it very well. So currently, the BIM model is considered a little bit like the digital twin, but it's currently just a kind of a database or data storage for all the data that is being gathered from the site. And the digital twin should be much more like enabling the simulations and also enabling this kind of a situational awareness on the site. So not only showing the data, but also showing, as mentioned, the people and material flows and locations on the site, where people can see in real time what is actually happening on the site and what's the status, without actually maybe even visiting the site. And that's probably the way where the world is going, but we are not there yet.
Jukka, you I guess you had something to say.
Okay. Yeah. So I agree with Olli that the scheduling is far too inaccurate for steering the planning actions. But if we are discussing the digital twin, so I think that the BIM data model is pretty good digital twin of the actual product. So it's so good that actually the steel fabrication can be made up with robots out of that model. So then, in best cases, so then it's very, very accurate. But the process model digital twin, then that means that we should model work. So which is something what this planet is missing. So there is not the kind of the consistent way of modeling and sharing the data of work. So what will happen? What is planned to happen? And that is a kind of the big gap. And with the actor we are taking the first steps in my understanding to understand that what is the situation at the moment, so that the people can start to do their decisions based on the real facts. And then I think that one of the ideas in actor is also to measure and track that how the work is really done. So what it means that so people are doing things so and recording that and learning from that, and that could be the kind of the next step for modeling the work, how the work is done at the construction site, and then someday build a model of that so and use it for coordinating and forecasting and simulations.
Okay, Ari.
Yep, I would like to continue from after the gentleman's good the point of views. So from the supply chain and material management point of view, it's like the guy said that it's about following and tracking, are we behaving according to strategy. So we have the certain processes, certain strategies, certain time windows where the people should do the certain things. And we are actually following that, are we going according to process? And then we are also understanding, for example, that when we should do the order confirmation, if that is 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks before the delivery, so we can check that when those has been actually done. And then we can see that are they in a decision window. And then we start to understand that why the certain actions, why they have done outside from the decision window. And it's about tracking the process. And then also the based on the data, we can develop the process further. So for me, exactly like the guy said, so it's tracking the behavior according to strategy. But we can, of course, if we do not have the proper and good and well-defined strategies, also the control is actually meaningless. So everything is starting that we have to have the model what against what we are actually tracking.
Okay, do you, Markku, have something to add?
Well, I would say that this BIM is also some representation of the physical environment at site. So it sets constraints for the process, and it's interoperate. We have to need to know that what is statuses of different structures and so on. And this digital twin of process, we do need also this physical part, and those are interacting. And of course, quite important is this in this digital twin thinking is that we get information from the reality to our model. And this is very core topic in Actor. We track what is happening, try to as real time as possible to collect this information and have this up-to-date situational awareness of the activities at site.
Yes.
Sorry. Can I continue a bit? Because actually, in the future, the vision could be that we can actually enrich the material information and add the attributes on the materials. So in the future, it can be that we can connect also those processes and decisions to the materials. So then we can connect these physical this design model with the process model, but not gonna happen next year, but possible definitely in the future.
All right. So you already touched on the BIM model and modeling. One thing that I wonder is that we are now bringing more technology to the construction side, and of course BIM models have already been used on several sites. But basically, it depends very much on the company, on the project, on the person, and their skills. How much, let's say, how easy will it be in the future, in the Actor future, to really be able to use all these technologies? How much new training, new skills do you need to retrain the construction workers to actually use all this technology? Okay, Jukka and Markku.
I hope that is a kind of the scary situation that if the technology is so complex that people need to be trained to use it. So it should be so easy that it is kind of a natural reaction that you are using. And I think that is the kind of the biggest challenge in the BIM now at the moment, that it is created by engineers, and it's really holistic whole BIM models. And the question is really question for the improving the BIM usability is, or the BIM feasibility, or using the data of the BIM model in the construction, is to how to make the access to the data really easy. And that is kind of the same thing with other things like measuring with the sensors, or using the scanned data and those things. So then our task is to make the data easy and kind of adaptive for the user's situation, so that it is hands down the easiest way to get the information what you need. So then the digitalization is really starting to transform the industry.
Okay, Markku.
And as our part in this project is related in this visual management, digital visual management, and the idea is to provide to the workers needed data in some let's say nice visual format in order to make sure that the information is consumed, as Jukka many times says, that the information is consumed, and we try to provide this information, and we have to create an algorithm that knows what information should be given to the worker at site in certain position and certain role. And we have to try to, it is so many times said that the software should be easy to use, but we have to find the ways to share this information in usable and consumable format.
Olli.
I believe our vision is that people do not need to use this kind of system. It's automatically, when the process happens, data is automatically collected. People are working with the beacon, and they are generating data. Robots are working the site, collecting visual data, which is analyzed by AI and sent into progress in BIM models. So no one has to enter anything to get the situational awareness. As much as possible should be automated. And in the same way, in receiving end, the AI should know what information the person is looking on based on his or her role, his or her location, and the tasks that are ongoing that location. So we hope to remove the experience of using technology and just maybe enjoying information.
Mm. That sounds
consuming
really
information.
Yes. Yeah, somebody told me that those people who want to work on a construction site, they are there because they don't want to sit in front of a screen all day. So they actually want to do something very physical and something that's not just virtual work as we unfortunately have to do. But yeah, that's really a mighty goal. Well, Actor is also looking at the sustainability impact of construction, specifically CO2 emissions, which are becoming very essential in construction. So what are the points in a project where you can make meaningful decisions on emissions and create reductions that have some that you can actually measure? So where in the process can that happen? Is it all done before we build anything, or can you also do something during the construction process? Jukka.
Okay, I'm the first one, so you can kind of continue or agree or disagree with me. But so currently, many people are already calculating the carbon dioxide emissions from the materials, and that is kind of the business as usual almost in construction already. So there are a lot of tools for doing that. Then it's much more difficult to calculate the consequences of work, the actions. What is the work causing? And And I think that is not even the first step. And I think that it's not exactly needed at the moment, at this point of time, because we happen to have a really lucky situation that construction industry productivity is so poor. So sorry to say that, but then improving that cuts the work what is needed to do the things. So improving the productivity means less work and to make the same results, and that automatically cuts the carbon load as well. So this is kind of a win-win situation in the industry. If you can improve the business, so we improve the sustainability also.
Okay, Olli.
We say that solving the productivity is solving the sustainability problem at the same time. So we envision much shorter construction durations, cycle times compressed maybe 50% or more in the future. Every single day has carbon emissions associated with it. We have the construction trailers. In cold climates, you need to heat the buildings which do not have maybe windows and doors, so heat open buildings during winter time. That causes lots of emissions. If you have optimized logistics, you have much less trucks coming on site. If you solve the productivity problem, there's fewer workers on site for shorter time period, which means that the traffic to the site and the size of the trailers and so on are minimized. So there are a lot of factors to consider. Also, there's one interesting research which shows that if you do a more systematic process and people have situational awareness, the material waste is going to be much lower. So actually currently when we calculate these emissions, we are assuming standard levels of material waste, but those could be decreased significantly during construction process, because now we are wasting a lot of good material because of bad situational awareness. And we don't know that this material is actually upstairs, so we order more material on site and then cannot use the old material. That happens every day in a traditional site.
Yeah, wasn't it so? I read somewhere that it was like 30% of material that is delivered to a construction site goes directly into landfill or something like that. So, yeah. Jukka.
I have one addition to this, this overall situation, improving the kind of the business, improving business, improving the sustainability, is also that in this actor project we are collecting the data with which we can model that how the work really is done at the construction site, and then we can get the data model, understanding that what is done and how it's done. So then we can possibly in the future dive deeper into this, how the work is organized, and what are the, as you were asking, that what are the points where we can save. So is there kind of some points where we are doing much more than needed and so on. So this gives the collecting the data makes it possible to into future to analyze that how the work is really done and how to save the carbon emissions in the process.
Okay, Ari.
This is actually easy case. This is piece of cake. So if the construction industry would be interested about making money, because actually this reducing the CO2, that is same time like gentleman said, that is actually improving the profitability. We are wasting material and we have a long throughput times and low productivity. So most of these the things, they are going hand in hand with making money, and it's a bit sad that our young children, they are the one who are forcing actually us as adults to go down with the CO2, and they are the guys who are actually keep putting the pressure to minimize the structural waste, what we are talking about, and why they are not shareholders who would like to earn more money and get the same impact. The good thing is that now we have both. We have our children who are willing to actually actually support the sustainable solutions, and I believe that step by step also shareholders, they are seeing the possibilities to actually get more value.
All right, money talks. So
should talk. That was the message.
Okay, yes. We have. I don't see any questions from the audience so far, but perhaps we can now talk about the results that Actor provides, research results and technical solutions and so on. If our audience is interested in applying these, because I think what you're doing is really fantastic, but how can our audience start applying these results to their own businesses or own operations once they are available? Olli?
I think we have two different types of answers here. The research institutions and companies have quite a different view. We research institutions are providing, of course, knowledge. We do proof of concepts of new ideas that are maybe not ready yet for commercial implementation, because we are just exploring how to, for example, what kind of simulation models would well support production, how to do scalable computer vision to detect the state of elements and so on. So those results are probably mainly useful for software developers who can then kind of take that knowledge and create in large scale systems which use our findings. And obviously anything we learn about work process will be useful for construction companies who are managing these processes. And we will create reports on how this kind of technology actually works and what kind of benefits construction companies get from using these technologies. We also emphasize a lot the worker view, and I think the construction companies have kind of neglected their key asset, those people who are actually building the buildings, and they have not been listening to their concerns well enough. So we are kind of creating a consolidated view of what they think, what's important for them, because solving the productivity problem in the end is solving the blue-collar worker problem.
Okay, Jukka.
And Trimble as a software house is following exactly that what Olli said. Elephants are eaten in pieces, and then so is the kind of the releasing of the results will be done more like a fireworks than a big blast. So Trimble is collecting the data and collecting the valuable requirements and understanding how the business works, and we are focusing to basically two things at the moment. So the service is providing the feasible data for example, analyzing the scanning data, what the automatic collection is collecting, and trying to make that feasible and organized in the way that the people can use it in the easy way. And the other thing definitely is also the usability of the information for the making the consuming of the data easy at the construction site. I think these are the assets for the digital transformation, because the digital transformation is happening. So technology is helping it, but actually the people are doing it. So then we have to get the people to change their behavior, and the usability is a really major point in that. So we are going to release some functionality in interesting services, and hopefully also the functionalities into Trimble Connect. So I can't mention them yet, but so I can say that just stay tuned with Trimble News, so you will recognize maybe some points even in the near future, maybe.
Do you, Janne, think that KONE will benefit from these results commercially?
Yes, absolutely. So that's why we are doing this. So of course our aim is to create new products and services that we will eventually bring to the market. But of course, before that, we do a lot of collaboration and co-creation with our partners and customers. And in many cases, there can be this kind of early access to the solutions through the pilots and proof of concept projects that we welcome, of course, new partners and customers all the time. And yeah, this actor is one good example of that, how we work with other companies creating the solutions.
Okay, Ari.
Yep. So our let's say that the part in this actor is the develop together with the team, develop the supply chains and material management digitally from the design interface to the life cycle of the building. And when you or someone else in the audience, when you are interested to join to this journey, so we are very open. We are not owning logistics or supply chain solutions. They are so bloody old already, so nobody cannot own them. So we tell everything and give you everything, and we hope to get something back from you. So no matter are you the material suppliers or manufacturers or the construction companies or subcontractors, let's do this together because everybody wins. So we are welcoming all the parties who are interested about our part in the actor to join.
All right. Markku, do you want to add something?
Yes, perhaps beside these technical solutions and software development, in this our part, there is also this, we're trying to figure out these human factors, human acceptability of these solutions. We try to understand the thinking of those target groups, the workers at site, and provide some understanding of those in our reports and so on as our result.